Hello and welcome to Sunrise Cardcast, your one-stop podcast shop for all things hockey cards. My name is Eric Andrews, also known in the hobby as Hammerhawks. And if you guys are watching, you will notice that Aaron is not here with me, but stepping in for him is the one and only Billy Celio, Senior Product Manager at Upper Deck. Billy, thanks so much for joining the show as always and for picking up Aaron's slack. How are you doing today?
I was gonna try to do an Aaron imitation and just kind of talk real slow and be like, "Yeah, hey Eric, how's it going? Can't wait to talk to Billy."
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. He might have to look over his shoulder for his position on the show. We'll see.
Right.
But anyway, this is one of the episodes we look forward to the most every single year, that being our sit down with you to go over all things about the newest release of the Cup. So, with today being December 3rd, that means that 2024-25, the Cup was released today. Which is obviously very exciting. So, as we kind of do every year, we'll just do a deep dive on the product and hear what info and insight you have to share about it. So, starting things off, one thing we always love hearing about is the design of not only the base cards but also the rookies as well. This year features a pretty noticeable brushed silver type of look, which I assume is to mimic the Stanley Cup. But what went into that design for the base and rookies this year?
I feel like every year we want to make it a little bit different than the previous year. We don't want it to kind of overlap year after year. So it's kind of like we go to white to silver, to white to silver, and then this is the silver year. But you kind of give direction. And again, I think our design team did a great job with following direction and interpreting everything. I don't want to say following direction. I want to say interpreting direction and being able to come up with something that I think looks really nice.
Awesome. Yeah. So speaking of the RPAs, everyone is pretty much aware last year for 23-24 that the RPAs were slabbed with the QR codes to show the original patch for each card. And you guys have continued that again this year. So why did you continue with the idea? Maybe what success did you see with it last year? And why did you decide to stick with the same design and format as last year?
Well, we want to kind of protect the patch like that. That's been a big problem with people that they feel like there's the ability to swap out the patches, and we want the authenticity of these rookie auto patches when they come from us. We want people to, have the guarantee. And if you have them slabbed, you can't really mess with that unless you take it out of the slab. So someone that gets a slabbed RPA is going to know that this is legitimate and that the patch hasn't been swapped out. We did it for a reason last year. I don't see why we would change it. It's funny because we heard a lot of people talking, oh, we're just going to rip it out of the slab, like, oh, blah, blah. And honestly, I haven't seen many reslabbed rookie auto patches out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people have kept them in the slabs and have been pretty happy with how they are and appreciate that, guarantee that slab gives you.
Yeah, absolutely. And same for me, I have seen very few that are not in the slab. So I think that's a good thing for sure. I'm very much a leave it how it came from the manufacturer type of person. So I'm glad that most people have tended to follow that for last year and presumably this year as well. So of course, speaking of the RPAs, one big topic with the RPAs every year is the numbered out of 99 checklist. So this year it features Logan Stankoven, Cutter Gauthier, Will Smith, Matvey Michkov, Lane Hudson, and of course Macklin Celebrini. So as a reminder for folks who kind of wonder how that process works and how the short prints are determined, can you share a little bit about the timing of the process for that decision, as well as any thoughts you have about this year's crop?
So we have this big dartboard in the employee lounge that we just have all the rookies' names on it and toss it. No, there's obviously we have to kind of think ahead of time of who. There's some like number one, Celebrini is going to be at 99. It's pretty much out there. So we're able to kind of determine that early, and then it's kind of funny. We print the rookie forms into two different forms. So we have like all the holdover rookies and the pretty much guarantee rookies on a form, and then the lading skating rookies and the new skating rookies on a second form that's printed a little bit later, like a month or two later. And the reason being is we want to give those top guys just the most amount of time to sign their cards. I tell the story over and over again. Austin Matthews' RPAs literally came while we were packing out, like about 2 days into the pack out process of the Cup his rookie year. So like we had the redemptions ready to go. We knew they were coming, but it was just like, what if we were able to get this done earlier? And when I say like one's done later than the other, basically one form is done before everything else. That's the first form. That's the form. That one's done early, and then all the other rookies are done with the rest of the product. But we get a head start. Holdover rookies, you can use them. You can start with them. And then new skating rookies. So then you'll probably have a few 99s in that first bunch because you know that they're going to be in there. And then you kind of leave yourself a little bit of room, maybe on the second form, to say, okay, so like let's see who steps up out of the next 3 to 5 players, and who else is going to make those 99s, because we want to give the best representation of those 99s that we can. We don't always hit the nail on the head. I think the most obvious recent one is the Jason Robertson being out of 249, which made some of those cases, made a lot more cases stronger than they should have been. But obviously, he was a 99 caliber player by the time that product came out. But when we were building the checklist, unfortunately, he hadn't blossomed into the player that he was. So yeah, it's kind of like a 2-form process where we start off with the holdovers and some almost guarantee guys in there, and then we move to the new skating rookies and everybody, and then just when the cards are built, get them out to the players as quick as we can and get them signed.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. Obviously, like you said, somebody like a Celebrini, you just know, like, yep, they're going to be a 99. I'm kind of curious. I mean, Will Smith, Michkov, Hudson, those guys make sense too, but Stankoven and Gauthier were probably those guys on the kind of on the fringe. So what made you guys determine that they deserve those cards?
I don't necessarily get to determine that. But as a team, you have to make a decision by a certain time. And those were the 2 names at the time that we felt had the most promise or upside on how they were playing, or the potential, or how their cards were doing in the market. Because sometimes we'll have some early sets come out in time for us to kind of get a feel for what some of the rookies might be doing. But the higher ups kind of make that final decision along with our content managers. I just kind of I give direction to build the set, but the checklists are done by our content guys, and then my boss and the higher ups kind of decide who the 99s are.
Makes sense. So, turning to some of the inserts, we always like highlighting the new additions to the lineup each year. So, I'll mention the new inserts, and you can share a little bit about the inspiration and execution for each. So, first up, elegant etchings.
This is one of those inserts where you get, when you get the pleasure of having Jean McLeod in your office. She comes to you and says, "I really want to do an insert on this type of paper, and I want to use Spectrum Deco foil, and I'm like, great, that you told me what you want to use. I'll give direction, and we'll and you get to build that insert." And so Jean worked with, like, I kind of came up with the elegant etchings part. She got to use the paper and the foil and everything that she wanted to use. And when you get one of those cards in hands, you'll feel a difference in those cards compared to other Cup cards. They have a really nice feel to them. Between like a soft touch and a canvasy kind of feel. It's something different that we've never done before. That's again what I love having Jean there for, is she has those never done before ideas. So that's kind of where we came up with. She kind of we were able to get the players in the right spots, the line work with the foil and everything going, and I think those cards came out real nice. I'm really happy with them.
Lavish.
Lavish. This is where you get the autograph collector out of me. I see a lot of like metal prints, or I see a lot of like metallic type prints. And one thing I notice on those prints is the blue paint pen absolutely pops on that type of image. And so I kind of wanted to recreate what one of those prints in a 2.5 by 3.5 card. So it's a light FX card, which we don't always use in the cup, but I wanted something different. I went technology, but I didn't do weird stuff like colored filler paper with die cuts and called chemical compositions. I went a little different route on these, and no, those cards came out real cool. I think the autograph really pops on them. I like the kind of monotone-ish kind of feel to the image. And from a visual standpoint, I think those cards look amazing.
Patron patches.
Patron patches. It's it's an insert that it's another patch insert basically, and kind of wanted to come up with something new. You see the same kind of patch cards every year, so I try to build a new one within the product just to see if I can build another card like a materialistics, or if I can build something like that. So that's where the patron patches come from, is just being able to use a nice size patch, because people like big patches, and see if that one sticks.
Starting a legacy.
Starting legacy, we had like leaving a legacy and starting a legacy. So it's just kind of, the leaving a legacy was an insert of guys that had played with the same team for a while and left a legacy. Like, they don't necessarily have to play for the same team the whole time, but guys that left their mark. And starting a legacy is kind of like the younger star version of that, where someone like Connor Bedard would be a great example of someone that's starting a legacy there, now that he's completely crushing it. Just somebody new, a younger guy that is making their mark in the league now.
Makes sense for sure. This next one I know Aaron appreciates. So the signature pads.
Oh, we've done those before. Usually we would do like a parallel of the signature swatches, where we would do like the signature sticks and the signature and pads was one of them. So we have done signature pads before, but it used to be like a parallel version of one, and I just decided, let's just put all the signature swatch cards and signature pads and stuff all in the same form. That way, when I instead of like making a parallel of it and using a whole nother form, and some of these guys not having pad or stick to be able to do it, let's just, if you have stick, we'll use stick. If we have patch, we'll use patch. If we had pad, we'll use pad. If we have Phil Esposito's knee brace, we'll use his knee brace, whatever.
Very cool. And then one pretty standout new insert, I guess, if you want to call it. The concept has obviously been done with other memorabilia, but the signature monumental puck booklets.
Oh, these are my favorite. This actually wasn't even my idea. One of my coordinators, Chad, came up with the idea, and he won't take credit for it, but we were talking about stuff, and then it kind of came up, and then I'm just like, okay, let's try to figure this out, and figuring out the size of a puck, and can it fit on a card, and how can we do this? And lo and behold, it fit perfect. And these are probably my favorite new insert in the set. Like, the other ones look cool, don't get me wrong. The elegant etchings and the lavish cards, I think, are beautiful cards, but just the concept of having the whole front top of a puck on a card with game use pucks and stuff, I think is just really, really cool. Something that hasn't been done before. I think Pat put in Artifacts this year a really big size piece of a puck. I was actually kind of mad at him. I was like, you didn't tell me it was going to be that big. And those cards are gorgeous, and they're one of ones. And so I had to step it up a level. I had to, this is the cup, this isn't Artifacts. So we use the whole puck on these cards, and their game even says like the game use, and we had the player sign it and everything. So I'm really excited about that. Those are super rare. Those are like, if you get one, they're rarer than monumental patches. So That's a huge addition and a huge hit for the set.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the artifacts ones because I think those have been extremely well received. People really like how they pop and just something a little bit more unique that we haven't seen a lot of. And like you said, taking that concept to another level, with the booklets and autographs and all that. So yeah, it'll be really cool to see how those are received. I'm sure they will be very well received.
I
Looking
don't
at
think anyone's
returning.
throwing them away.
True. Looking at some of the returning content, there's one set that stood out to me, that being the return of the All Star Royalty set. What prompted its return all these years later?
You think that we don't sit there and read the blogs and look at the pictures and are on social media and stuff? We look, and some people commented on how much they like the cards, and you know what, we haven't made them in a while, and they're beautiful cards. The original versions are absolutely stunning. And so I wanted to challenge our design team to come up with a new version of them with new players. Tried to make sure we didn't repeat anybody that had one before. Can't always guarantee that, but I think they did a good job of doing that. And yeah, just kind of wanted to, I think it deserved to come back again. There's a lot of guys that, that original set is beautiful and has some iconic players in it. And I think this new version of it is going to have the exact same thing.
Very cool. A couple of insert sets that I know both you and I love are the Materialistics and the NHL Collection. So, what can you tell us about those sets this year?
They're everyone's. It's like limited logos, They're. I was gonna say they're the same, but yeah, not always. Thanks, Billy. But they're. It's a nice. They're just cool cards. It's a big chunk of stick. It's a big chunk of patch. Some of them are signed, some of them are not, but it's a really unique card that I enjoy putting into the set every year. And I'm glad that the materialistics are back. What was the other one? I was so excited about the materialistics.
The NHL Collection.
Oh, NHL Collection, yeah. That's just one where I get to tell the designers, make the most beautiful card you can think of. Like there's certain things that like exquisite cards are supposed to look like. There's certain things that cup cards are supposed to look like. And then the NHL Collection, I just want it to be like the Rolls Royce of design, fancy, using foil, make it elegant, make it clean. And they do a great job every year doing that.
You set up the next question well. One insert set people always enjoy is the limited logos set.
Yes.
After being vertically oriented last year for just the second time ever, they returned to the traditional horizontal orientation. So, what prompted that switch back to the kind of status quo, so to speak?
I really liked the vertical one, and I switched it back not because I wanted, not because I heard bad feedback or good feedback. I just this set is kind of more. It looks a little more like one of the older sets of the cup, like with the steel, with like the steel feel to it. So I kind of wanted to get back to making the limited logos kind of look like the old version of the limited logos. You'll notice that the autograph is actually vertical instead of horizontal on the card, and kind of brings back some memories of maybe some vintage limited logos that people collected back in the days.
Yeah,
Or
very
still
much
collect.
like 06, 07 is the feel I'm getting from
Yep.
those. Yep,
Big
very cool.
inspiration. Big inspiration.
Another return to the old way, so to speak, is the honorable numbers cards going entirely back to being numbered out of the player's jersey number. I know we've discussed that over the last few years, but why was now the right time to go back to entirely featuring jersey numbers?
Look, I heard someone mention this on a different podcast, and sorry to bring it up, but there's times that you take risks or try new things, and sometimes it fails, and sometimes you hit home runs. And we wanted to kind of try some new things to differentiate from different years and stuff, with the limited logos having non-auto versions, and with the honorable numbers having different numbers to them, because we just didn't want to repeat the same cards over and over again. And I would say it didn't go over as well as we would have hoped. And again, there's times that we listen, and this is one of those times where it's like, okay, if you feel this is what you guys want to see, I have no problem changing it back to the way it was. Even if you're getting the same card over year after year, I guess people are fine with that, and I'm fine with that. If I prefer to build a set that people want and people want to collect, so yep, we went back to the original version of the limited logos, and we went back to the original version of the honorable numbers. Sorry, everyone, but hope you appreciate how it is now.
Absolutely. You mentioned the concept of differentiating a little bit there. One insert this year that caught my attention is the exquisite 0304 Tribute Black auto patches. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, we're used to those being white like the original design. So, what prompted making a black version? And then, kind of a follow up with that, was there anything special done to ensure the condition of those cards is good?
I was tired of seeing the same insert year after year, and there's the possibility of repeating players, like I mentioned before. Unfortunately, sometimes you get new people working on stuff, and sometimes cards get slipped through the cracks. And I think we've repeated some players, and sometimes they're on different teams, but I think there's always the scarcity of doing that. So I said, how can I make these different? And I go, it would be really cool if you invert it. And so that's what I did. And I've told people this, and I stick by it. As long as I'm building the cup, I'm not doing it again. Like, this is a one and done. I told my content manager, I go, I want the best of the best in this set. And they did that. Like, there's the Gretzky and the Matthews and the McDavid. Best of the best is in the set. Cards look great. Yeah, when you deal with black edge cards, there's always the concern of chipping. There's always the concern of the card traveling from person to person, when it's getting signed, when it's put in the box, when it's put in the tin, when it's sorted through stuff. So that conditioning concern can happen with every card in the set. It's just a little more obvious sometimes when you deal with black edged cards. I hope that the cards get to the people safe and in excellent condition. There is obviously concern that it could be damaged, but for the most part, I think the cards look amazing. And the way that the silver and the gold pen pop on those, I've got pictures on my phone. Those are I take pictures every now and then of cards that I really like when I'm packing out, and those were definitely ones that I took pictures of that I kept on my phone because they look really cool.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm sure it'll be really fun seeing some of those big names and seeing those be pulled. Um, I'll go off script a little bit here, not on my original list of questions, but you mentioned.
Whoa, Eric,
I
getting
know,
crazy.
I know, I know.
See
You
what
mentioned.
happens when Aaron's not here?
I
You just
know, I know. um, you mentioned pack out. I know that's something that you've been doing ever since you've been in charge of the cup, but maybe just tell people a little bit about kind of what that entails and what that week is like.
it's I always joke, do you want your back to hurt or you want your knees to hurt? Because we're sitting at a table with a lot of cards that we're literally going through and sorting and figuring out. And my boss does an amazing job of looping this set to, 10 different, like I think I've said this before, but it's some people play like checkers. This dude Grant's playing 3D chess with this loop. Like, he's got formulas that go from one page to another page that somehow match up to another formula on another page. Like, I'm pretty good at Excel, but his skill level is on Excel is just second to none. We've actually had people like from Beckett that used to, because Grant used to work for Beckett, like ask about, tell us about Grant and Excel, because we heard stories about him, and I'm just like, it's all true. So we have different things different groups of tins that we build, and then each master case is built with a specific types of tins in each of the cases. What I can say about this year's cup is, one, we've got a strong rookie class, so that helps. You've got a few really big names that will strengthen each case. But what's cool about it is each year it's like you're adding the next level. So now you got Bedard, and then like you in the previous years you have other rookies that like continually add to the list of guys that people want. And I'm sitting there like building cases and looking at like non-case hits, and there's like some Connor Bedard autographs that are not case hits. There's some Wayne Gretzky autos that are not case hits. So you can get like a Macklin Celebrini autograph, and then you could get like a Lane Hudson or an auto patch, and then you can get like a Lane Hudson auto and a Wayne Gretzky auto, like all in the same case. It's the strength of the boxes and the tins and the cases, I think, this year are the strongest I have seen in years. Again, a lot of it has to deal with the strong rookie class. A lot of it also has to do with the strong rookie class from the year before playing well. And then you still have like a lot of the top signers in there. You still have Connor McDavid. You have Austin Matthews. You have a lot of Ovechkin content and a lot of really cool inscriptions that Ovechkin did on some really rare cards that I'm excited for people to see. Crosby, for some reason, is always a year late, but we got Crosby in there. It's just, we do have some previous year stuff in there. But the thing that we do, we try to make the previous year stuff, unless it's like a rookie auto patch that we don't want to leave a hole in a checklist. A lot of the previous year stuff that we put in there, it's strong content. Like we don't want to just throw in, a guy that skated one game 3 years ago, but we finally got his stuff back. You might never see his card. But a lot of the other stuff is retired or veteran players that people are going to be really excited to see, Crosby being one of them.
Very cool. Yeah, one thing I wanted to bring up is with the update cards, like you said, there are some big time cards, but one that really caught my attention is from 22-23, a Legends of the NHL triple booklet of Gordie Howe, Wayne Gretzky, and Alex Ovechkin.
Oh yeah.
Which kind of speaks for itself, but what can you share about that card?
I mean, our content coordinator every year gets the challenge of trying not to repeat ones from the previous year, and coming up with, and I mean that one just makes sense. You got at that time, now you got the top 3 goal scorers, like boom, 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 or like guys that led the league. Like Howe had it, Gretzky beat Howe, Ovechkin beat Gretzky. So yeah, that's a really cool one that I'm glad that we got in the set.
Absolutely. With the pack out process, do you have any favorite stories from this time? Anything interesting that happened or anything?
So I got to go to Waffle House, so I was excited about that. We're supposed to go to lunch one day, and then they got us Chipotle, and I was just like, all right, I'll eat Chipotle. They're real nice to me down there. I was the only one from California that flew out this time. We have a really good group of guys in North Carolina that are very knowledgeable and are good with that. I mean, it's a whole effort. There's like about 8 of us in a room, like 6 to 8 of us in a room at one time. And then in the other room, it's all the people that are putting the stuff into the styrofoam tins and stuff, and then loading that onto the pallet. So it's a big effort, and I enjoy working with the guys in North Carolina and the girls in North Carolina. They do a great job. They feed me well. But when I joke about like what hurts like most, everything's on a table, so you have to decide: am I going to stand up and do it? If I do, I'm leaning over, my back hurts. Or am I going to sit down? Or no, I'm sorry. If you're standing, your knees and feet hurt. If you sit down, it's like your back hurt because you're leaning over. They used to ask us if we want a tall table or a short table, but I think there's only one person that usually ever used the tall table. So now we all just kind of have short tables. But yeah, it's like 12-hour days, like 4 days in a row. So it's not as much fun as people think it is. I mean, you get to see a lot of really cool cards. That's for sure. This is the time I actually get excited about looking at cards. They always get on my case because when I do case breaks, I don't get very excited because it's just like, I just want to see if these cards fall where they're supposed to fall. I want to make sure they got all the hits. Okay, great. Saw Connor McDavid auto. It's a sticker auto, or it's this or that. But I go to the Cup every year, so I get to see the really cool cards. So maybe that's the other reason why I don't get as excited about the other cards, is because I get to see them when I go to the Cup pack out. You get to see the videos with my jacked up hands in I wish we didn't use my hands. They're so bad. I got so many build up calcium things on them from arthritis. But no, they decided, or I decided to use my own hands for it. But yeah, all the videos we have out there. But that's just it's a fun time with the guys in there. One of our guys is just a huge 90s R&B fan. So we almost go like, there's like hours upon hours where we're listening to old Boys to Men songs and TLC and stuff like that. And then there's another guy that loves Taylor Swift. So we have to listen to all the Taylor Swift songs. And you can imagine how I'll put my earbuds on during that time. But it's a fun time. I talked too much about it. Sorry. Next question.
No, not at all. It's fun hearing that behind the scenes stuff. So you talked about how much fun it is seeing those, product level type of cards. When I was looking through the checklist earlier today, a couple of the big chase cards that caught my attention were the Crosby McDavid Dual Shield and the Gretzky Ovechkin Enshrinements Duos card. What can you tell us about those two cards? And then if there are any others that stood out to you from this year's product?
Yeah, again, we challenge our content coordinators to come up with checklists, and if they have an opportunity to put superstars together, it's kind of funny. We have a little sports group thread that we talk on, and a lot of times pictures will come up of cards, dual autographs that just shouldn't. Oh, you missed an insert that's on there, the new insert also, but like dual autographs that just shouldn't have happened. I'm a Michigan State fan, so I always love talking about the Shannon Brown, LeBron James dual, autograph. Like Shannon Brown's a great Michigan State legend, but does not deserve to be on a card with LeBron James, and ruined a lot of cards that way. So you got to be very cautious about. A lot of times we don't like to put rookies with legends, and sometimes even rookies with rookies. But if they're established, like a McDavid and a Crosby or Ovechkin and Crosby or whatever. And the funny thing is sometimes these guys have like in their contract, guys that they like, I will only be on combination cards with these specific players. Mm-hmm. That's why you don't see league leader cards in sets very often. The reason is there's enough players that are high point scorers or assist people or whatever, goal scorers that have regulations on who they can be pictured with, that it's impossible sometimes to do like the top three scorers, the top three goal scorers or assists or whatever. So, we have to be very careful of who we match with that. And that's a legal thing. That's in the contracts. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're always challenged. We obviously don't want to have a McDavid Crosby or Ovechkin Crosby, shield or something in every single set. They have to be aware of, how many we've done and who we should use and stuff like that. And we keep track. We have all these checklists in our database. So they do the research and they put some good stuff together. Which leads to one of the new inserts that you didn't mention.
Yes, please share.
Yeah, I'm gonna go off the script for you now. So one of the things that we heard a lot of, or at least I heard a lot of, is we don't have like triple and dual autographs that are hard signed much anymore, and a lot of that has to do with timing. A lot of it has to do with it has to go to one person, then it has to go to another person. Sometimes you might send it to the one person that doesn't sign during the season, and then they finally sign at the end of the season. Then it goes to the person that's in Russia that doesn't sign until the season's like they get back for the season, and then you don't get the card signed. I mean, that happens. So what I decided to do was I created a living set that will be throughout the years of the Cup. Where it's hard signed, dual and triple. I can't remember if I did quads or not. I'd have to look at the checklist. I don't know if any quads got out, but there might be quads in there too. But I wanted to make a living set with a living design of dual autographs and triple autographs of players, and that we won't repeat any dual autos or triple autographs that we have. But some of those did come back, and some of those are in the set, and some of them are amazing in the set, and it's all hard signed. I was tired of, just like everybody else, seeing, the Legends of Hockey card that you mentioned, or not Legends, but the NHL greats, their sticker autographs, and I'm just like, let's give the people what they want and give them the hard signed multi autograph cards. So that is a new insert in the cup that will continue from year to year.
Awesome. That's great to hear. So you mentioned those, you mentioned the monumental pucks, stuff like that. What are some of your favorite cards in the product this year?
I already said the monumentals. Those look real nice. Geez, like I think we mentioned almost everything that's in there. There's not a lot of Easter eggs in this set. Um, you know the Yeah, the monumentals are my favorites. Everything new I love. Like this year, and maybe it's the new baby, the new kid or whatever, and so I'm excited about it. But I think building the cup, and yes, I've been doing it for a number of years, but it's still a growing process every single year, and every single year I want to make it better, and I want to create stuff that's collectible. I want to create stuff that people are gonna see and want. And so I think this year we did a good job of doing that. And I can't say I did that. I can't say that happened every year. I hope it happens this year. I hope everyone's happy with the new content. I know I am. So, but the monumental pucks are easily my favorite new insert in the cup.
Awesome. You mentioned the the video with your lovely hands showcasing the Macklin Celebrini hot box. Of course, last year that was done with Connor Bedard, and this year, like I said, with Celebrini. So, what can you tell us about that idea and about this year's iteration of it specifically?
Yeah, we were contemplating on what to do, and because we did the 99s one year, we did the Connor Bedard hot box. Sometimes it's these cards are potential case hits too. Like anytime you use Celebrini in this set, it's a potential case hit. So you're taking away potential cases by not having enough case hits. That being said, I think we just kind of we started here. I think we stepped it up with the all Bedard box the next year, and we're not going to go backwards. I'll say that much. So I think we kind of just continued with the tradition that we did last year, and I think someone who gets that box is going to be real happy. I still haven't seen the 99 box, and I still haven't seen the Bedard box, which surprises me. I don't know if people are storing it or if I'm going to see it on all these. I hope it like pops up on one of these like pre-cup breaks or whatever. Like we can go back and check and see if any of these guys got it. But yeah, it's out there, and the other two are out there. So hopefully we see one soon.
Yeah, it'd definitely be very fun to see one of them for sure. And I haven't seen either of them either. So, um, is there anything else we have not yet discussed about the product that we should talk about?
Yeah, people that collect Upper Deck products throughout the year have noticed that there's not as much like legend content in some of our earlier sets and some of our like flagship sets and stuff. And that's done on purpose because we want to save the legends and the legendary content for the cup and for other high-end brands. And you'll see more of it than anywhere else in the cup. This is where you get your Steve Yzerman and Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky content, the stuff that people, like have been wanting to see and collect for a while. So you'll see, memorabilia cards, stick cards, autographs of many, many legends that aren't necessarily in a number of our other sets. So keep that in mind also when you're collecting. You're not just looking for all the rookies, you're looking for all the superstars and for all the legends. And I will say this also, with our active players, not rookies, but with our active players and our legends, we're using, game use material with all of our superstars. And I don't think you can say that with a lot of other sports where it's game used material that they're using for some of their high-end products. So we take great pride in using such content in the cup because this should be the best of the best.
Absolutely, that makes sense for sure. So that's the cup. Is there anything else before we wrap up that you want to pitch or talk about?
No, did a great job again, Eric. Aaron, be careful. He's going to want to go solo. He's the Justin Timberlake of this podcast right now. I would worry. I'm just joking.
All right. Well, next time we'll be glad to have Aaron back, but we'll leave things there. And Billy, as always, really appreciate your time and insight. Always enjoy having you on.
Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, we'll leave it at that. So, as always, please be sure to follow us on social media. We can be found on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Sunrise Cardcast, and on Twitter at Sunrise CC. Please also be sure to subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to make sure you never miss a future episode. Until next time on Sunrise Cardcast, keep collecting those hockey cards.